Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Spawncast episode 330. We are missing Evan. He's not feeling well. That's why we're a little late. Had to throw everything together here on my end to make it all work. But I got it work. We're here. So it must have worked. Let's see. Let me go around here to get started because we're starting with a few people and we should have a couple more before we get to the end of the show as they're going to pile in. So let's start with MVG, Modern Vintage Gamer.
Hello.
Here with us today. Tonight requested a specific topic even. You know what? I even put it in the title for him. So it is we will be going over Killer Instinct randomly coming back out of nowhere. So I need to get your take on that. I wasn't a huge Killer Instinct person, so I want you guys to sell me on it. Let's see. We got Max, Dreamcast guy.
Hello. Baldur's Gate, insanity. I have not slept in days. It's the good life.
Okay, good stuff. And we got Josie Woe with us.
Hello. I've been playing a lot of Ratchet and Clank actually.
Oh, good. Interesting.
Last time.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. We'll get the word on that then. See what you have to say.
Haven't beaten it yet, but it's really good.
Okay. Good stuff.
I'm almost there.
Let's see tonight, and let's see. OJ should be in at some point. He was here, and then he left, and he came back, then he left. So I think there's some technical issues going on there. So he'll pop in at some point. So we do have the Switch 2 stuff to go over. There are reports flying everywhere. We had breaking news on the Game and Talk podcast as well with that. So Nate was getting some credit in the news. Got the Killer Instinct return. Baldur's Gate 3 took over the internet. Crashed Steam at one point. And we also got some sales numbers for Zelda and the Switch. And I figured we would try to decode what Kojima said at one point for Death Stranding in an interview to a K-pop star. So that should be good. Let's actually jump in. We'll jump into the Baldur's Gate thing immediately then, because Max, you played it. I've played some of it, but I don't think anyone else had a chance to play it. So I think it's just you and me. MVG has shown interest in this game.
I'm definitely getting it. I'm waiting for the PS5 version. I'm not like a PC master race snob or anything, but I feel like I need to be sitting on the couch while I'm playing this game with a controller in my hand. So I'm on the PS5 version when it comes out.
Okay, good. And then Josie's also shown interest in it.
I'm super interested. I've played D&D for a long time, so I love the idea of this coming out and stuff. I just don't have a PS or a PC to play it on, so I gotta wait for the PS5.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. And I didn't even realize it. Max told me that you can use a controller with the PC. I have not tried it at all. I basically stuck with the keyboard and mouse, which took some getting used to because, actually, Max, I'll let you go ahead and discuss this. You've played it for 30 some odd hours. All right. I haven't played it for that long. I've played it for like 3 hours or something. So
yeah, I've been playing it quite a bit. I played almost exclusively with like one of these cheap little Xbox controllers. I've been playing it 12 hours a day with my girlfriend. I actually broke the A button on my controller. So now I'm playing keyboard and mouse. I'm surprised by how good it works when it comes out in PlayStation 5 here in a couple weeks. It's going to work really well. But as a person who's played a bunch of Dungeons and Dragons, it's weird they finally just made Dungeons and Dragons into a game successfully. You can go anywhere. You can do anything. It's like, all right, there's these guards that are jerks. Do you want to become a guard? Do you want to kill these guards? Do you want to burn down the town? Do you want to kill the mayor? Like every situation, there's like 80 billion branching paths. I feel like I keep clicking random streamers because they're just doing random things. I saw somebody become a vampire hunter. I've seen people just literally have sex with a bear. I don't know why that's an option, but you can. I don't know. This game is just so deep.
Was the opening surprised me a bit because I think I was picturing like medieval time stuff, and you start on an alien spaceship. Which was very weird to me at first. It was very mature rated right off the bat, and obviously this game is. I'm surprised this game didn't catch an adult rating at some point. Maybe it did somewhere in the world. I don't know.
I wonder if they didn't because it's toggleable nudity. I wonder if they have some sort of loophole where it's like, oh, you can opt out of all the swinging D.
Yeah, that. Yeah.
Man, I like that intro though, where right at the start, there are these alien style, Cthulhu style monsters called the mind flayers, and the way they reproduce is they put like a parasite in your brain that grows and takes over your body. And you're infected with a mind flayer. So that's
the idea of the game that I saw. Yeah, is they jam this thing behind your eye or something, and it's like, well, you got to go figure it out.
Yep.
That's like the opening cutscene basically. It's like, all right, we're gonna jam this in your eye right now, and they do it in first person too, so it's kind of weird.
It's just so good, man. I can't, and that's like, it's crazy. This game is literally like, a rushed playthrough is like 80 hours. Most people are going to put 200 or 300 hours into it. I've put 30 hours into it of dedicated hardcore. Let's try and figure out what to do. And I have not done much. And I say that as like the biggest compliment.
So I can tell as I'm playing this game, I don't think it's a title that is geared towards me is what I'll say. Because it is, if you would be into this game if you like the Dungeons and Dragons setup, right? Like if you play it in person, you're going to like this game because it basically plays like that. Like they don't hide a lot of, like Diablo hides the dice roll from you. This game, it's like, all right, hold on, you're going to roll your die now.
John, did you not play like Baldur's Gate 2 and Icewind Dale and all these cool RPGs on the PC back in the day?
I dabbled with them here and there, but I didn't get into them that much. I played Diablo 2 and Diablo 1, which those, again, they disguise the dice roll more than this. This is basically like an electronic version of Dungeons and Dragons in the sense that they do walk you through a lot of it, but you'll have the narrator talk to you like a dungeon master, right? And that's fine. But it is kind of leaning into that. And the thing that always gets me with PC games like these, and it dealt with it back in the day, but now you mentioned the controller settings, Max, and I think I would like that more because right off the bat, you're basically clicking to move your character. Never got on with that. I don't know. That always bugged me. Maybe it's just me. I'd rather use WASD to run around with the character, but
yeah, I've enjoyed it more with the controller, obviously, since I've predominantly played it with that. But what you can do, John, is if you're having some sort of trouble in certain areas, if you press O, I found out it becomes fully top down. It actually zooms way up in the sky, and you can just see the whole board, so to speak. And it actually makes it a little bit easier sometimes. Like if you're trying to figure out where to go in a town, you're like floating above it. You can just pick locations or in combat. Yeah.
I mean, I see the storylines that keep branching. Basically, they're like, do you want to kill this thing or not? Do you want to show compassion? Do you want to fall under its mind control? And I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to do this, but what would have happened if I hadn't gone that route? So I see this as a million different stories that are going to be told for people. So I understand the hundreds of hours people are describing for this game. And reviews are in progress now. Last I checked, there were 4 reviews. I'm double check again. Last I checked, 4 reviews though is what we're in. Still 4.
I'm editing a video for tomorrow that's gonna just basically be impressions, and in it I basically say that this game is just so big you can't really review it in the standard sense. Like most games, you beat it and you review it, but this is a game where they've said there's 10,000 endings. There's 200 hours of possible cutscenes. It's like I've played 30 hours, so I'm gonna put up an impressions video. But
yeah, I saw that a lot of people like there were reviewers who were like review in progress. They're like, I've put 30 hours in, and I feel like I'm just starting. So I don't know how you review a game like that unless you're going to spend the next year doing it. That is kind of crazy, but I see it for the D&D crowd. I see it. It's high quality, super high quality across the board, I feel like. And if I was just into that, I think this would be a really cool game for me.
What's the performance like? What kind of machines you guys gotten?
I tested it on 2 different video cards, all right, of varying degrees. So the lowest one I tested it on, which actually I guess I could have put it on the Steam Deck. People said it plays all right there, though. I played it on a 2070 Super, and then I played it on nice. I played it on a 3080 Ti. So the 3080 Ti just dominates this game. No problem. You can do whatever you want. The 2070 Super, I was surprised on that because I have it here on the 1440p widescreen, and it was getting anywhere from 60 to 80 frames depending. Through G-Sync, you don't really notice it, even if it drops down to like in the 50s at some points. But the performance is fine, and that's it sets me at like high and ultra settings. For that again.
Do you have a ROG Ally, and did you test it?
I do have the ROG Ally over there as well. I've not put it on there. The thing I run into is this game is 120 gigabytes.
Yes.
So
I immediately have to, if I'm like, I'm going to put this on the Steam Deck, it's like, okay, I'm going to put this on the Steam Deck. I'm going to play it later today or tomorrow.
Yeah, I put it on the Steam Deck. I set it right next to my Wi-Fi so it soak up every bit I could, and then I plugged it into the wall, and it took quite a while, but it runs well on Steam Deck. I have been, what do I have? An RTX 2080 Super, and it's been running good. Sometimes I'll have an issue. If I play the game for like 8 hours, it almost feels like the game starts to have some sort of problems. Like if I play it for a ridiculous amount of time, the frame rate gets bad. But if I restart it, it's fine. And I guess no normal person would encounter this. But a lot of my binge sessions, about 8 hours in, the frame rate becomes unplayably terrible, and I just restart it and it's fine. I've also had a couple sticky black screens where when two people are playing, it'll like go to your partner's point of view when they're in conversations. That way you can like see what choices they're making. And about 2% of the time, sometimes the screen would just show pure black and I could hear it. And it's happened enough times and all these things. I can't tell what's happening, but yeah, that's a really weird, frequent glitch.
Jordan, aren't you in Japan?
I am in Japan.
What? Are you just
Jordan?
like through like hotel Wi-Fi or something right now?
No, this is just 5G.
Oh, okay. You just stopping in? You stopping in? What's going on? What's happening over there in Japan?
It's 10 a.m. I'm in Osaka, and I was like, oh, the Spawncast is going on.
You got like a nice view?
Yeah. Let me,
You want to hit us with
if
it?
I could turn it on real quick.
Yeah, real quick. Just give us a little shot.
If it's loud, it's cicadas.
Oh, okay, interesting. Oh, look at that.
Fancy.
Nice.
What's the coolest thing you've done?
Traveled around, went to a bunch of places in Tokyo, to a bunch of places in Osaka the last couple of days, heading to Kyoto for a little bit.
How's the GameCube section looking over there?
Good. I bought a Japanese GameCube game so far. I bought a bunch of games, some cool stuff.
Okay.
Finally picked up Final Fantasy 16, but I picked it up here because it's like $40 here.
Interesting. All right. Huh.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you have to gauge how much you can actually get on the plane and get back with you, right?
Oh, I already bought a whole new suitcase.
Oh. Nice.
Smart man.
That's awesome. So you're starting out the day. We're like ending the day right now. Okay.
Yeah. Day's just starting. Just figured I'd pop in and say hi. Didn't want to derail the podcast.
You're good.
But-
You're good, Jordan. Hey, man, have fun in Japan. That's cool. Looks nice over there. Looks nice.
Appreciate it, guys. Have a good one.
All
Enjoy
right.
the show.
See ya. Have fun.
Yeah.
Bye.
There it is. We got the word from Japan. There you go. Actually, could have used him for the Pokemon Presents thing. Oh well.
Get him back.
Well, I mean, I'm sure we'll talk to him about it next week anyway. But yeah, Baldur's Gate 3. If you like D&D, I recommend it. If you don't like D&D, I recommend it.
I heard that there was a dungeon builder in it, or like there were rumors about that. Is that true, Max? Do you know?
I haven't seen.
Interesting.
I haven't seen anything like that. I wonder if they mean the camp.
That's full. I mean, that's full on D&D. Then, if you can just
Yeah,
because
because people were excited because you could just make your own stuff
that's
and have
crazy.
your players go through the whole thing.
If you can, yeah. If John said, man, that if they can, people, this is gonna be the last game people ever play. People are talking about the fact that this game has no microtransactions. You just buy it and play it. I mean, legitimately, there are people that are just gonna play this forever.
I saw on Steam it hit 700,000 concurrent people playing it at once, which is insanity. At one point, Steam was struggling with the game. There were reports that people were airing out when they were trying to buy the game. So I mean, Larian Studios, they got a home run on their hands, it looks like. And depending on the way these reviews come in, I mean, it's at a 94 now with 4 reviews. This thing, it kind of seems like this could end up mid, maybe slightly lower 90s. Is that game of the year contention then?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, I do. I wonder how many people are going to mention it, though. It's weird, this game. I almost think, even as a mega fan of it, I'm baffled by how much it's selling, just because this seems like it would be a more niche title, but it's going so mainstream. I'm curious what websites are even actually going to rank it on the top 10 best games of the year.
It's interesting because a lot. I mean, it's as like I said, as hardcore RPG as you can get. And even like the battles, which interestingly enough, there's no transition necessarily from the battle to the overworld when you're walking around. You can change to it yourself by clicking it. You can say, okay, I'm going to go into like the battle sequence if I want with no enemies around, which I think lets you like detect traps and stuff like that. But that is still, again, it's like a tactical strategy RPG kinda. You move your characters, you can only go so many spaces, and then you pick your actions or whatever you want to do. So I don't know. It's impressive stuff to see the performance on it in terms of its sales and and excitement online, it might be there. I think at the end of the year, this could be one of those titles that I think it's definitely lining up to be that RPG of the year contender. But who knows? Maybe you don't see a lot of these kind of games end up in that Keighley Game of the Year category at the end. This might break through, kind of like how Persona did that one year.
Oh yeah, good point.
So I'll be interested to see it on the PlayStation 5 though, and someday I guess the Xbox Series X and the Series S. But it sounds like.
By the way,
mm-hmm.
Remember how there was all that controversy about the Xbox version was delayed and all that stuff because
Mm-hmm.
the Series S was they couldn't get that running properly, so they just kind of held a. Well, I guess they didn't officially delay the Xbox version. They just said it was coming out later.
Yeah.
But I think in hindsight, looking back now, it was the right move for them to ship the game the way that they have, because obviously, people are very, very excited about it. There's so many people playing this game right now. It is a bummer that the Xbox version isn't gonna launch with the PlayStation 5, but I mean, I think they made the right call on this one. Give them the time that they need, and I'm sure the Xbox version, when it does come up, it'll be really good.
This is a game
so.
they could have another 3 launches with this game technically, because they're going to put it on the PS5, right? Let's say they get it on the Xbox early next year. At the end of next year, or maybe into 2025, they could try to move it to Nintendo's next system.
Right.
Maybe.
And that would make a lot of sense to have it there, a handheld device and all this. Yeah, I mean, it's running on the Steam Deck, so that'd be pretty big for Larian.
They said this is all going to have cross-play as well.
It does. Interestingly enough, when you sign in and everything, you saw it, Max, it said it talks about cross-progression, cross-play. So I could, for example, the PS5 version comes out, all the stuff I've been doing on the PC, you log in with your account that you've made and all this, and your data goes right to the PS5, apparently, and you can just pick up right there. So
Is it like a separate account, like other than
yes,
it
was a
Steam
separate
one
account.
or what?
Mhm.
Okay.
It is a separate account, and then also there's a thing called direct connection. So whenever you're playing online, if you don't want to bother doing friends list stuff, there is a way where you can just tell people like this randomized code, which I've been doing the most of. Like, it's kind of cool that you can just send your friend this ID, they join you for a while and then leave.
Yep. So yeah, people can be on the PS5, people can be on the PC, eventually the Xbox, and everyone just playing the same room, running around. So it's good stuff. That took them a while in early access, but it seems like it paid off. So I'm curious what the PS5 version will turn out to be, and I think I'll play the PC version here and there as we go along. But I'll be honest, when something like Starfield and Armored Core come out, I'm probably just going to be moving to that immediately. So that's the way it goes. But hey, good for Larian, good for Baldur's Gate fans. They got one here. They got one. Let's go over to. Oh yeah, Sean wanted to talk about like the Switch sales since you guys talked about it, did it on Game and Talk, right, Josie?
Where's OJ? Where's
We did.
OJ?
Somebody
about
in
Switch
chat said
sales.
that he had some stuff to do after his pre-show, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's we'll talk about the Switch 2 stuff then. We'll get into that one, and then we'll do the sales, because Sean wanted to come on and start yelling about all the other stuff that was going on. Gosh. Switch 2. MVG, you haven't had a chance to talk about this yet either, really, have you? Oh, you talked about
No.
did you talk about it with Nate?
No, we didn't. We actually recorded Nate the Hate a day before, or 2 days before, so
Oh, wow. Okay, interesting.
we haven't talked about sales.
Okay, got it. So we got the sales and the Switch 2 stuff then too. Let's talk about the Switch 2 stuff then. We'll get that going. We got reports of Switch 2. This was from VGC. The big thing they pointed out that so Eurogamer corroborated the Switch 2 stuff, but it was actually corroborating second half of 2024 launch. I don't think they touched on much of the other stuff. They just said, "Hey, we've heard that it's likely coming out second half of 2024." But then Nate shows up all over the internet talking about an 8-inch LCD, right? A lot of suggestive themes there on Game and Talk, but they did it.
That was the worst.
And 8-inch LCD, and they also mentioned an expansion in terms of storage size internally. So, surprise, it's not going to ship with 32 gigabytes probably. I mean, that would be wild if they attempted that again. Nate suggested up to 512 gigabytes. Not that it would have 512. All right, so I think they might cheap out slightly and just do 128 gigabytes, but that's just me.
I think they'd give us more than
You
that,
think so?
John.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'm thinking 256.
Okay.
512 would be really cool. 128's not that much of an upgrade to
Sure.
me.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
especially with the
especially
file sizes.
exactly,
of
especially
games.
if you're talking about games that are targeting 4K potentially, or they're targeting an reconstructed 4K, whatever. I think asset sizes of games are generally going to get larger. And you just talked about a game like Baldur's Gate 3. You also mentioned, we talked about Call of Duty coming on this console. I mean, they're gonna have to up that flash storage, I think,
Yeah.
significantly.
Call of Duty's what, over 100 gigs? So you're
Yeah.
gonna have you'll have games that won't fit on. You'll have to be I think 256 minimum. I think 512 is a possibility though, because I think that that's why they're going with an LCD. Not to diminish the quality of an LCD, but I think that's probably one of the factors right now.
Okay. Okay. You think if there is a light version, they would have less storage space for it, or you think they would just keep that the same too? I'm thinking about the
Kind of kept it
potential
the same
for
with the
a.
base Switch.
I mean,
two-SKU
you're
launch.
also you're also assuming that this is going to be the exact same sort of thing that we have right now, and I'm still not of the mindset that it's going to be. So I don't even know if there would be some sort of light version of it. I mean, there might be a comparable cheaper version, but we're operating under the mindset of it's a hybrid system like we have now. But there's always that possibility.
Well,
There's
you
always
guys
that
were breaking some news over in Game and Talk, right, Sean? I heard this. It's not live yet technically for the public, but Nate was throwing around some info there on Game and Talk, which you could listen to right now if you sign up and support the Spawncast network, right, over on spawncastnetwork.com. Bunch of good shows going on over there that aren't live. MVG had his Ask a Developer, a lot of Carbon Engine in there, which was really cool to hear. And we did some Mario Party stuff too.
That was fun.
I mean,
There's
you
an
both
alliance
lost.
that was formed.
You both lost, so
That's
it's
you
fine.
can't. Only one person come in first place.
I mean, but I came in second.
But
What did you come in?
That's not first.
I
You're either
beat
first
you.
or you're last.
As long as I beat you, I'm satisfied. I am more than satisfied.
It was like an hour of Mario Party, all right? So there's a lot of content there. And then I have another Spawn point, which I've been doing more and more of these going up this week, where Muda and myself talk for about an hour and 20 minutes about live service and aliens.
great Muda.
I like it.
Check it.
Good.
Check it out. They can like I said, support the shows at Spawncast Network. Exciting stuff going on over there. A lot of plans for some other shows too. So exciting stuff.
Where's Medallion? Is Medallion in here? Yeah, Medallion. I gotta go at Medallion real quick because he replied on the in the Game and Talk thing because I said something about how is you have a Retroid Pocket 2 or a 2 Plus, right?
I have a 2 and a 3.
It's an LCD screen, right?
Yeah.
Or it's not an IPS. Yeah, I couldn't.
I think it's IP. I think it's IPS, isn't it?
I don't know. Regardless of it, one of the things was that there is a patch that you could download, and it's like some custom settings thing. Retro Game Cores made a video on it that allows it to mimic an OLED screen. And I had talked about that in the video, and I saw Medallion in the comments like, there's no such thing. I tried to link the video that I was talking about. Look up Retro Game Cores, type in Retroid Pocket 2 screen, and it'll pop up what I'm talking about. It's basically the point I was trying to make was that not all LCD screens are created equal. There are things you could do to them to enhance them, and I was using that as a point.
Okay. Well, I actually do believe the LCD talk quite a bit, mostly because of Nintendo's financials recently. I think there's a point to be made in there where they discussed selling more, because they did pretty well, which we'll get into some of the sales stuff in terms of how many systems they sold, but they actually made less money technically in terms of profit, because even though the OLED model is $350, the red box model at $300 makes them more money for the profit margin. And
yeah, probably
a lot of that has to do with probably the OLED screen. I mean, if you look at it, what's the major difference really? It's the 7-inch OLED. So
also when we're talking, I see a lot of people confused about 4K. Much like different types of LCD screens, there's different types of 4K. We're not
True.
talking about a screen that's going to be a 4K screen on assuming that this is a Switch-like concept. We're not talking about that screen being 4K. We're talking about that probably being 1080p. The 4K comes into play, probably an upscale 4K with DLSS or some other sort of thing via docked mode. So battery life, I don't think would be that huge of a problem because I mean 4K in a handheld, it's kind of pointless anyways.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it for the screen. I mean, I think I don't think they're going to hit that set. I think 720 is. I don't know if you could show up with 720 again. I feel like they.
Yeah,
go up
no
to,
way.
I feel like they push it to like 1080.
Yeah,
I mean,
I would agree.
Just have it 1080 max, and I mean it's
Yeah.
not. I mean, how many fucking Switch games don't hit 720p in handheld mode? Like, it is what it is. So you have the 1080 max. If developers can figure that out, you're good.
Well, what's interesting is I know the ROG Ally has AMD FSR that's used in handheld mode. So I do kind of picture NVIDIA having their own upscaling stuff for handheld mode as well. So they could probably play around with that 1080p resolution, not necessarily as like a constant, but at least a ceiling they can hit. And I mean, I think having the menus, the eShop, all those things in 1080p would help out in handheld mode with an 8-inch screen. So the other thing I'm curious about, though, the 8-inch LCD, which Nate has mentioned a couple of times now as informed speculation, but I do believe him on that one based on some other things. I wonder what that's going to do to the form factor of the system. Will the system be larger? I mean, the 8-inch screen would make it larger.
Yeah.
Well, I heard that. Never mind.
Oh, gosh.
Don't repeat.
I mean, the system diagonal would be larger then. So
Yeah,
like,
but
how
I
would they
mean-
work around that? Would the Joy-Cons be taller? Like, would they be longer too? How would those be?
Just take a Sony Q Lite, rip the
there it
DualSense
is.
controllers off, and stick Joy-Cons on it, and then that's what we're looking at, right?
All right.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the Switch itself. I mean, it's portable, but like, is it? It's not like a Game Boy or something like that.
Right,
It's always been kind of clunky. So I think they'll be fine getting away with stuff like that. The market's adopting this whole, mini PC in the palm of your hand situation. So why not? Go a little bigger?
I hope someday that. Oh, yeah, Max.
I was going to say, yeah, I agree. I mean, I have actually taken my Steam Deck places. The fact that they sell it to you with a case, I do think the Switch maybe looking at this, Switch 2 could have that 8-inch screen and come with a case and just be like, yeah, pretty good internal storage, run around with it,
I hope eventually foldable screens get so cheap that they could do like a Game Boy that closes completely and it becomes a little
You and
square.
your foldable
Hey,
screens.
it's
not
cool
happening.
technology.
It's not happening in video games ever.
Do some
We don't
cool
want
stuff.
it. We don't
No one
want
wants
it.
it.
Wait,
Nobody
don't say
doesn't
we.
want
I want it.
What's wrong with
Why?
that? Foldable screens are cool.
What's
the benefit?
It feels like the cyberpunk future. It reminds me of like Blade Runner, where it's like, all right, I'm done playing my game, and then it folds up completely.
I still like the
You have a
clamshell
DS,
design that
though.
they came up with.
I do. I have a charged DS, but I want it today, and not in 144p or whatever that screen is.
I still like the clamshell design that they came up with, so it's a shame that it's basically over now. But there was something because they had some obvious pieces in there. It'll take physical media because there's a card slot. So there you go. Nintendo's not going all digital yet. Shocking. They'll probably be the last holdout, which is fine. And the part I'm confused about, maybe MVG can answer this for us. They don't seem to know if it's backwards compatible, despite having access to a development kit. Again, these are select partners that are working on dev kits, but whoever VGC is talking to, and I have some guesses, all right, because if it's select partners, if I had to look at studios that tend to leak stuff early, I'd probably throw a speculated guess that it's like Ubisoft or something.
Yeah, it's probably Capcom, Ubisoft, one of those, right? Intelligent Systems, maybe. You know what I mean? Like it. We don't know, but the backward compatibility thing, I think the best way I can answer why they still don't really know if it is or it isn't is because the development kits that have been sent out, or at least from what we've heard, the goal is to make games. The goal isn't to fuck around with backward compatibility. So the dev kit probably doesn't even support it. But that's not to say that it wouldn't get added later on, because dev kits, when they first get sent out, they're usually in prototype phase. In some cases, they're just like ribbon cables coming off a PCB or something, like something really, really kind of primitive.
Really basic.
But generally speaking, as prototype development hardware matures, they start to add kind of the features of the final product to that hardware. So backward compatibility, I think the reason why they can't really say a yes or no is probably because the partners that have access to dev kits, their focus is to get launch games ready for the for next generation. Their focus is not to mess around with backward compatibility. Their focus is to make new games. So I think, at this point, we can't really say whether that's going to be true or not, unfortunately.
Okay. So
that's my take. I don't know if that's accurate, but that's what I would say is probably happening right now.
Still up in the air. Okay.
Still up in the air, yeah.
Fair enough. I mean,
50-50, as Sean says.
Hey.
I had a tweet about this today. Man, if this isn't backwards compatible, the internet is gonna burn.
I believe it.
I'll be there.
I know.
I might have to pull out a cigarette for that one for old time's sake.
Yeah, bro, man. If they do, I'm just saying that's like a huge selling point to me, is that I have like so many physical Switch games that, like, physical pilled me. If none of them actually plug into my Switch Pro or Switch 2, I don't know.
There's a system you can play it on. There's a Switch.
Yeah.
Hey, don't Don Matrick me. We have a console for you.
Yeah,
it's called the Xbox 360.
But that's the interesting part about this. It's just a little handheld hybrid device. It's not a game console that you have to plug into your entertainment center and hook it all up and then unplug it. I mean, you want to play your Switch games, there's a Switch right there that you can just...
You know what annoyed me about it, MVG? The whole thing, if it isn't backwards compatible and can't have those older games come forward, is that we were allegedly this close to getting a Switch Pro. Dev kits got recalled. That's the story and all this stuff. So they were close, and they decided not to, which I assume is just why we're selling these Switches. Who cares? Let's move on with this generation until next generation, which means we almost had a system that would have made these games look better and play better. And if this new system doesn't play those games, which potentially open up the idea for patches or playing better, we'll always be stuck with Xenoblade Chronicles 2 where your characters don't have faces.
Yeah, just hear me out. I'm going to run this situation past you guys. New hardware launches. It launches with a new Mario 3D game and Mario Kart 9, right? So already there's a lot of people invested in new hardware, and they love the new hardware because it's a generational leap above the Switch. At that point, how many people do you think are going to want to go back and play their old Switch games? Like they're going to want more of the new stuff. They don't care about the old stuff.
But there could be gaps in the rest of the year after they beat those games, after they've had their fill, that they would be like, okay, well, now I have all this backlog of games that I didn't get to before. I'm kind of doing that with the PS5. I didn't have a PS4, so I'm playing a lot of PS4 games right now. I just feel like it'd be cool.
Yeah, but they could fill in the gaps by reselling it.
I knew he was gonna say that.
Breath of the Wild Deluxe Edition,
Enhanced
featuring
edition.
all the DL. And they'll resell you a Pokemon Scarlet and Violet with the performance patch, but only on the system. The performance patch,
is coming. Okay, that patch
is coming. People said it was.
I kind of feel like they might do that. I haven't made a video about this or anything, but I did kind of want to pitch. I do think that they're going to do something where, if it's backwards compatible, I think they're going to sell you some sort of $10 upgrade patch of like, oh, the games you like most. It has a physical cartridge slot. They look the same, but if you pay it, there's like a 4K patch or something.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to deal with it. Maybe it is software related, where you put the cartridge in, and it does what the Xbox does, which is just download the game from their server or something that's set up with a compatibility patch.
I think if I was to speculate, and I've said this before, I think it's going to be patches. So based on your digital library, if you own specific games, I think they're going to offer you a way to upgrade to next generation, whether that is paid for or for free. Hopefully it's a free upgrade. But I think that's how they're going to manage it.
Yeah.
Personally.
Historically, hasn't Nintendo been pretty forward, though, with backwards compatibility? I mean, even the DS Lite had like a whole Game Boy in the bottom of it.
Yeah.
Like,
they've been pretty good about that.
I feel like they've always sort of cared about it, but I mean, it might
For
be different because they
handhelds.
haven't. But yeah, well, even for like what was the Wii U? I know that was a failure, but the Wii U and the Wii, and then the Wii and the GameCube, except for like I guess when they're switching cartridges. But I feel like their history sort of points to the idea that they'd stick with it.
But have you also noticed that eventually during the generation they take that feature away? Like,
Yeah, that's
remember
true with the
how
upgrades.
yeah, the revision of the
DSi.
Wii didn't have the GameCube compatibility, and the Wii U didn't have GameCube as well.
Game Boy Micro couldn't play Game Boy games.
Game Boy Micro couldn't play Game Boy games, so they kind of take those features away at some point. So I'm curious to see what happens here. Look, I think they will do right by people that have Nintendo accounts and have a digital library of games. I just don't know if the entire overarching Nintendo Switch catalog is going to come forward, and they're going to have some easy way for you to play your old Switch games. That to me sounds like a very, very tough thing to solve for personally.
Yeah.
You guys think Nintendo Switch Online is going to carry over?
Yes.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
like you're talking about like the
NSO.
apps, Nintendo 64.
That's what the graph that everyone shows you that they think says backwards compatibility. That's what it actually is for. It's for your Nintendo Online account, and the Genesis crap, the N64 games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Any of the purchases you made, like you can still sign into your PS3, and even if the game's not compatible on the PS5, or like your purchases are still there. You just play them on your PS3.
Yeah, I kind of think that I think they might do something where the cartridge slot doesn't work, but if you bought it digitally, maybe our digital games will still work. I don't know, man. If it doesn't,
That would be bullshit, though.
I
Yeah, that would
know.
suck.
I'm just speculating worst case scenario because it's Nintendo. They do some good and then some stuff just catastrophically bad.
My position is to expect them to have backwards compatibility, but not put it out of the realm of possibility that they do something where they're like, here's Mario Kart 8 Deluxe U Plus.
They're gonna
and it's not backwards compatible or something weird.
they're gonna say no backwards compatibility. The whole internet is gonna say we're boycotting this, and then it'll sell 8 million copies or 80 million copies day one like
If they have
Pokemon.
the game. They have the games. That's all it takes.
All they gotta say is something like, we tried, but unfortunately, because of the architecture of this new system and the proprietary media cartridges that we're using for this, it was unavailable to get the Switch games on the system, and then everyone will just eat it up with a spoon.
No, they just Sean. They just say here's Mario Kart Infinity or something, and it's like all the Mario Kart tracks. We have guest characters from all these different games, and people will just that'll be it. That's it. That's all it
People will forgive them regardless. Even the ones that swear they won't.
I won't.
I will.
I'm gonna buy it, but I'm gonna do it while frowning, so they know that I disagree.
All right, that's fair.
Well, I think we're gonna get more and more information on this this new device from Nintendo. I think people are looking more and more into it now. I guess that's the first. Is that the first like major report that's dropped for this thing?
Seems like it.
Yeah. Well, if it's second half of
now we're
2024, we're getting close to where it's like that year period where everyone starts looking.
What were you saying, Josie?
I was just gonna ask, like, because when the first rumors of this started happening, people were all on different pages of if this was even going to stay hybrid. But now it seems like it's pretty locked down to be hybrid, right?
Yeah, I have reason to believe that it will have an LCD, which to me means okay, it's hybrid.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So if
checking.
Yeah, once Nate started talking about that screen and it's an 8-inch screen, I was like, I have reason to believe that it will have an LCD. So.
Right, and it'd be a huge step back if they just went back to two separate systems and we didn't get the new Pokemon or whatever.
Yeah, that, and I don't think I don't know how possible it is anymore because of where we are with development. I mean, MVG, it'd take a while because their handheld would be a new Switch, and their home console would be closer, you'd assume, to like the PS5 or something. Not like maybe not that far, but I don't know. They were at least trying to hang with the other systems when they were consoles, with the N64 and the GameCube, and even the Wii U when it came out. It was like, okay, it's going up against 360 and the PS3, and it has 2 gigabytes of RAM, and so.
No, the hybrid's it. I think hybrid's it for the foreseeable future. I don't think they're gonna move away from that. They're gonna have one system, and that's gonna be it for a while.
Yeah.
I would say,
Yeah.
until
That's what I've always thought. I just wanted
they
to
run it into
know
the
if we were on
ground,
same
in
page.
10 years or something. I don't know. We'll see.
Who knows? The way technology is going, maybe hybrid model is just the model across the board because diminishing returns and like you get to the point where these old chips can do mostly what the big guys can do. Unless
Nintendo has a way of making like a gimmick that just becomes the standard. So.
Yeah, unless 8K ends up really taking off, eventually 4K is going to be completely caught up, and then what do you do? So I don't know. Sony's going to try to push 8K, and if it doesn't work, then hey, maybe they start working backwards these low-power chips, and you can take it on the go with you if you want.
Ooh, that's what I want. That or man, I think I'd like 4K 100 FPS on stuff before I care about 8K.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, they might get that with the PS5 Pro next year. There we go. That'd be an interesting holiday, by the way, if both of these come out second half of 2024, a new Switch system and a new PlayStation 5.
Be eating good.
You're getting the PS5 Pro, Sean. Come on.
Well,
I mean, I will get it, but I don't think it's gonna be a gangbuster seller.
Are you going to put it on your floor?
Yes.
What's the old number? They said 1 in every 6 PlayStation's PS4 sold was a PS4 Pro.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious if PS5 will hit that same number. You know, I feel like PS5 is selling so well, and if the PS5 Pro is just going to hit slightly better of the same thing. I mean, it worked for the PS4 Pro, but I'm not sure. The 5 Pro seems fast to me.
Well, we will have Sony's numbers coming up this week as well. So we'll see. They'll give us some number. Their games are hit or miss depending on if they tell us about them, but they should tell us systems. I think they said 40 million recently. But that was sold through to consumers, so it'll be higher than that when they discuss it with their investors. So let's see. Do we want to talk about? You guys talked about sales somewhat on your Game and Talk show, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you can hit some stuff up.
All right. I will talk about sales. So the Switch itself continues to roll along. It's nearing 130 million sold already, which I say already. I mean, it's been out for a little while, right? It's not like it just came out or anything, but it's coming up on that PS2 DS territory right now. 129.53 million units sold. It is 25 million off, 26 million off of the PS2. And if it still has until holiday 2024 before the next system comes out, and then potentially a year and a half to 2 years of cross-gen, I think this system is going to pass it.
It might.
Maybe.
We gotta aggressively cut it. Like
yeah, we go into that because it all depends. When you look at how Nintendo has handled really their last 3 systems, it's been a sharp end to the generation and then a focus on the next thing. The Wii was a sharp end into the Wii U. The Wii U was a sharp end, obviously, for different reasons. The 3DS was a pretty sharp end as well. You know, you'll still get stuff, but clearly the focus would be on the newer system. It just depends on how they roll out that new system and what they do with the current system. If they do a price drop and they have some, you know, maybe like more 3DS remakes, you know, maybe you do a Samus Returns for that system or something like that, then yeah, you know, but really the PlayStation, because the PlayStation 2 is at like 155. Nate says it's more closer to 160, so it'd be tough.
Okay. It is going to come down to that end of life support, and
yeah, it all depends on how they handle that.
Yeah, I mean, cross-gen could include Metroid Prime 4. Cross-gen could include the next Mario Kart. They might just say, you know what, we're putting it on both systems because we're going to sell a stupid amount of copies here.
I think a reason the PS4 did pretty well even after the PS5 came out, even though it's not like great, but like a lot of people couldn't get their hands on their PS5 for a couple years right after it launches. So I also think that sort of depends on like the availability of the next Switch. Is it going to be something that's like widely available, or were we going to have the Switch that everybody wants and then there's going to be this $150 older version?
Okay,
that's my idea.
I did also want to look at some of the top selling units here. Legend of Zelda, of course, was like the big story because Tears of the Kingdom has sold, this is in a month and a half, by the way, 18.5 million copies, which is absolutely ridiculous to think about. That is a lot of Zelda, and that's the end of June, so that doesn't count July at all. Okay, so they shipped 18.5 million copies. They've sold just over 15 million. So there were about 3 million that were still in stores, which probably sold throughout July anyway. So that's probably sold through at this point. And I mean, I still gotta wonder if it's gonna pass Breath of the Wild. I don't know. We'll see. But for me, it's not looking great. I said it was the fastest selling Zelda. It is, but I also said I wasn't 100% on it passing Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild, by the way, 840,000 copies sold this quarter. So it didn't sell nothing. It's still rolling. I think you're muted, Max.
You're muted, Max.
I have the IQ of a ham sandwich. Okay, sorry. I don't know how the heck they're going to pass it. I mean, obviously that 7-year head start. And also, I mean, Breath of the Wild was the mandatory Switch game for so long. If Tears of the Kingdom passes it, it defies all logic.
I think it has a chance, but once again, I mean, it's not like Breath of the Wild's going to disappear. So, I mean, that'll continually sell as well. It just depends on how the tail looks with it. I mean, so far, extremely impressive numbers. Will it continue? Time will tell. I wouldn't be surprised if it does, but I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't.
I feel like I'd be super surprised. I guess I just don't understand it. Where like Breath of the Wild, you bought it because it was the Zelda game for a long time. It was the hardware pusher for the Switch. Whereas Tears of the Kingdom is a amazing game. It's a 10 out of 10 game, but I guess I don't know. I don't know. I'm so blown away by the fact that somehow the attach rate, I guess just because there's more consoles. It's so gangbusters selling. I mean, I don't know. It's amazing to me.
Yeah, I'm just going to be curious like how many people continue to buy the game going forward, because we might have just seen like the vast majority of Zelda fans come out and buy it, and the rest might just be more mainstream occasionally buying it if they end up getting a Switch as well, maybe for Christmas coming up like this year. Maybe.
Nate talked about the Roblox effect. You know how people like just make all weird creations and stuff in the game. They just kind of mess around in the sandbox of the game itself.
Sure.
I think it's definitely attracted a lot of people to Tears of the Kingdom that I'm not saying sat on the fence, but I think it definitely has introduced new people to kind of the Zelda franchise for the first time, because there's so many things you can do in that game, and I think that really does appeal to a wider audience than Breath of the Wild did. I'm kind of with Sean. I think it could go either way. It's going to come close. It could well surpass it, but if I was going to kind of put money on it, I'd probably say it's just going to fall short personally.
Well, between Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, they technically sold almost 19.5 million copies. So in this past quarter. So they should have enough money now to make me the traditional Zelda game and then make the next open world Zelda game at the same time. They're not going back to that. The traditional Zelda is dead. Man.
Could be.
I mean, you might get it on a smaller scale.
Thank you.
What's the problem with that? It's better than nothing.
Yeah, I guess so.
Beggars can't be choosers, John.
Well, didn't Jeff Grubb say something non-Tears of the Kingdom?
That was Oracle Ages and Seasons.
Yeah, it was Oracle Ages and Seasons.
Good games. Good game. Good traditional games.
I kind of got the feeling that it wasn't that. I thought it was something else.
It was like a Zelda movie, Netflix series.
The Lego.
They could keep doing the 2D Zeldas, sort of like what they had on the handhelds, and start actually just bringing those over. And instead of just doing a remake of them, maybe make a new one, because I think there is still an audience. I mean, Link's Awakening sold super well too.
Link Between Worlds?
Because Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, they're obviously a lot larger scope than what you can do. Something like a Skyward Sword remake wasn't as big of a project. Link's Awakening wasn't as big of a project. So you could do things like that. You could even explore offshoot games based on potentially those worlds, which I think is something that they should. I'm kind of surprised they never did, because it feels like that would be sort of a natural progression, like almost like like obviously Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom does it, but like taking an older Zelda game and then adding extra lore into it, like continuing that story in that timeline.
Yeah. I mean, a top-down Zelda isn't going to cost anywhere near or take as long, I assume, as like Breath of the Wild or Tears. So you still have those to throw in there, make some money off of it, and kind of fill in any gaps for development time.
Well, what's Grezzo been up to?
They were making their own game, right? Wasn't there a game they were making? They put it on Apple Arcade. Is that didn't they? They did something. It was funny because they announced it and everyone's like, that's not a remake for Nintendo. Okay. They're probably working on something else too, though, with them. So I did want to point out, so they had two games that passed 1 million sold this past quarter. One was Tears of the Kingdom. The other one was Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe sold 1.67 million copies.
God.
In the past quarter. The game came out in April of 2017. The month after the Switch came out.
Everyone stop. Everyone who's supporting this, you're all bad people. Stop.
Now at over 55 million sold. If you take the Wii U into account, it is nearly 64 million copies.
Wow.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy numbers.
People keep buying it. If the next system is backwards compatible, I bet you it keeps selling.
But then how do you get people in Mario Kart 9?
I mean, they'll probably buy that game too. Gosh.
Yeah.
Let's buy both.
I mean, I thought they'll buy Mario Kart 9 just needs to have, what do we have now? We're up to like 100 tracks. Put all 100 tracks plus like an extra 20 and put in some new weapons. I'd buy it. Everyone would buy it.
I think it'd be cool if they gave it like a side mode, like a double dash mode that's like
that's a
on
good
the
idea.
side or something.
That'd be fun. Yeah. I do want to
Mix
point
it up a
out
little.
unfortunate news. One game was missing from this report. Sorry, MVG. Advanced Wars was not on this report, which means it did not sell 1 million copies.
Hey, I did my part.
You did. I bought it too. It's right over there. It
Was Bayonetta Origins on there?
It was not.
Shocking.
Leave Bayonetta
Game of the
Origins
year.
alone. And I wanted to point something else out here as I have some of the numbers in front of me with how things sold the last quarter. I noticed that something interesting is going on with Scarlet and Violet. All right. I thought it would have sold a lot better this past quarter, and it did not. It sold 560,000 copies, and it's still like what 3.3 million behind Sword and Shield. I don't know. I'm kind of thinking Scarlet and Violet might be kind of done, which is interesting if it sells worse when it's all said and done. Then even if it sells right in line with Sword and Shield for the jump they made with it and what they attempted, and I don't know. That seems like it's going in the wrong direction. Then
Maybe the message got around that the game was like absolute garbage.
I was thinking that. I don't know that might be it, because something happened here where it's just, I mean, the game came out. I mean, it sprinted to what 20 some odd million copies, and now it's just like falling off a cliff. So
Yeah, I think Sword and Shield also sold really well because that was like the big mainline Pokemon game everyone thought was going to be like the big step up on Switch, and it wasn't, and that's what Scarlet and Violet is. But just like, I think since it came out first and it was that first Pokemon that wasn't that great, it might have deterred fans as well.
I remember when John was trying to get me to buy it when it came out.
I thought you would have had fun overclocking and doing stuff to that.
No.
Man.
No.
The game,
Not terrible.
I wasn't a huge, people really liked the ending stuff. I wasn't a huge fan of it, but
Sword and Shield.
no, Scarlet and Violet. The
Oh,
ending
yeah.
for it. Some people really liked it. They're like, look Game Freak's trying. I'm like, I guess that's a way to put it. Sure.
I like it. I wish it wasn't one of the worst running Switch games, because I do think it's the most open Pokemon. It's like the Pokemon I dreamed about as a kid, and then it runs at like 4 frames an hour.
Yeah, for the quality of the games, I have no problem with the sales falling off like that. In a way, it kind of deserves it for that, but oh well.
The gameplay loop of it is actually really fun. It's just there's so much that you have to get over with how badly it runs that it's a lot of people don't have the patience for that.
Yeah, well, if I will say, if it was not branded Pokemon, it would have been in a lot of trouble. That would have been a game people would have made fun of it, but like in a way where they were just trying to crush the game. So, man, but we'll see what Game Freak has, because we do have an event coming up actually from them this week, which we will get to here in a moment. I will go ahead and pull up some of the super chats. What we're going to do for the network, the Patreon, we're probably going to do a bonus show where we cover the different questions and stuff that have been asked, because I think there were like 7 or 8, but we'll put that into a show for the people on the network exclusively. So we have that for them. Just loading up.
Where's
Super
Evan?
chats now. Evan was not feeling well,
He's sick.
or he's at a LAN party. We're not sure which one it is.
Yeah. He's
Wow.
either sick or he's sick.
Playing Baldur's Gate.
How'd your wrestling show go, Sean? Did they win?
It's still going.
Oh.
Ricky Starks just beat up Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. He's like 60 something.
Why do they keep beating up all the old wrestlers on that show?
RVD's coming back next week. He's wrestling. You know Luke. Remember Luke Perry from 90210?
What?
Yes.
His son
Yes.
is a wrestler.
Oh, I thought you said
And,
Luke Perry was a wrestler. Like what?
No,
I thought you were going
no.
there.
His son is a
Oh,
wrestler,
okay.
and yeah, he's wrestling RVD next week. It's gonna be fucking great.
Wow, a lot of stuff happening over there.
Yeah.
Interesting. Let's see. This is from CJ, who says, "Do you think Killer Instinct will skip PS5?" I'm gonna say
Probably.
yes, it's already on the Xbox now, so
Probably.
we'll get into that. And
Yeah.
This is from Switch Realm, who says Switch 2 is actually called Nintendo Switch Deluxe. Oh yeah, that was a
Okay.
question as well. That we got in. If we think it's going to be called the Switch. This is from T-Joe, who became a member. I think they'll call it the new Nintendo Switch or the Super Nintendo Switch. Do you think they're going to keep the Switch branding?
Yeah. I thought it would be called the Super Nintendo Switch for a long time. I do think it's going to be called the Switch 2.
I don't. I think it's going to have a new name.
Interesting.
It's going to be a hybrid. It's going to, may or may not play old Switch games, but it's going to be a new concept. It's going to be a new name.
Because the DS to the 3DS, they just put a 3 on it. The Wii U to the Wii to the Wii U, they just put a U on it. So I don't know what they do with the Switch.
Is this a Switch Pro or is this new hardware? What are we talking about here? If it's new hardware, then it needs a new name.
Well, we don't know what the new concept is. What the little wrinkle is that they might name it after. Although what's the Wii U? The U. Is that just
Useless.
Like, useless?
Wii U Up Plus.
There you go. Yeah, that's the biggest thing is we got to figure out what exactly is going on there in terms of the major function. Liam says Pokemon presents predictions.
I think we're getting a new mystery dungeon game.
We'll get into the Pokemon Presents stuff here soon, Liam. We have that coming up. Console says, y'all ever play disc golf on Wii Sports? Okay,
No.
wow. A lot of excitement.
Play it
there.
in real life. It's a good time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. I was like, I've played real disc golf.
Varang says, where is ROG69? He's right there. He's got the NW hat on. By the way, AMC, I'm a big fan of your games you developed. Josh, nice Tears of the Kingdom review. Respawn Water, love the tech waves. Oh, and PS2, dude. Chase says,
At least you got my name right.
Spawn Wave, I was scrolling through your videos and noticed you make the same face in each thumbnail. Do you pose each time? Copy paste your face. No, it's the same. I actually pose every single time. I'm really good at doing that now.
Why? If people can't tell, just fucking recycle. Who cares?
Because I have different
I
shirts.
do it.
I have different shirts on.
That's my thing too, is the shirt thing. So what I do is I film a video.
That's why I wear white T-shirts. in
Also,
all
my hair
videos.
might change or grow or something. So I'm like, I'll just keep it straight
Or
up.
recede.
I don't think I've ever been in a
might-
thumbnail.
You've been in a
I
couple.
want to track it across thumbnails. I can put them all in, and I can fold through and be like, yep, there it goes.
You've been in my thumbnail.
No, that's
DJ.
true. Yeah,
You-
that video blew up too, by the way.
You
You've
were,
been
on
in several of my thumbnails.
you were in your own thumbnail once in VG when you were
Oh,
sitting
yeah,
in front
yeah,
of your desk. Like
Oh,
things
that's
are
right, yeah.
changing.
Yeah, I didn't just make a thumbnail for it. I just let it upload.
This is from Patrick says, how is Jedi Survivor performance on PS5 now? I played it on the Xbox Series. It's gotten a little better. A little better.
Coming out for the VCR, I heard.
The
PS4.
Yeah.
Switch Realm says, MVG, are you considered an indie developer or AA?
Indie developer.
Sure as hell isn't AAA.
He says he's not AAA. He says it
I
is.
don't want to be. I don't want to be AAA.
I know. I was just confirming.
Thank you.
John says hype for Starfield. Edison says, "What are you drinking, Max Coca-Cola?"
Oh no, I'm drinking tea.
There
I'm
you go.
drinking tea out of the jug like a weirdo. I had this DoorDash and I couldn't get a cup, so I'm just drinking tea out of the jug.
Don't subscribe to Game Pass says, John, if the FF10 remake is real, would you want it to be 1-to-1? Leave the combat alone, but please change minigames. I never dodged 200 lightning bolts, did you? I did, actually. I did that one time. I've only done it once, because every other playthrough, I'm like, I don't feel like doing that again. I'd like them just leave the combat 1-to-1, but then revamp everything else. Visuals, audio, the mocap, all that stuff, yes. And Boot says, that moment you realize you have a Jersey Mike's sub shop in your town for the last 2 years and in a prominent part of town. Matrix confirmed. Edison says,
Jersey Mike's is good though. If you get
It
the
is.
the original Italian, I like the original Italian.
Mhm.
No onion.
So you don't do it Mike's way then.
Fuck Mike.
what? He's in the name.
Yeah, but you just get rid of the onion, but then you still have like the vinegar and oil and stuff. It's delicious.
Edison says, do you guys think Nintendo will make an LCD version of Switch 2 and other version with an OLED screen? 2 SKUs.
Yes.
Yes.
Eventually.
Yeah, they'll sell it again. Boot says, Nintendo should do a Pro Dock with proprietary eGPU. That sounds complicated for Nintendo for what they're trying to market. Omar says, won't happen, but could make sense to put some processing power in the dock to push 4K and 1080p in handheld. Dockless Switch 2 SKU equals new Switch Lite. Gary says, I'm not expecting anything big from Pokemon Direct because I don't want to be disappointed, but it would be nice if they announced the Game Boy Advance Pokemon titles come over to NSO. Oh boy. All right, let's
That'd be so cool.
let's talk about the Pokemon Presents. We already had mentioned that we thought there was going to be one because there was that data mining that happened, and it seemed to, that was like the Pokemon Masters EX, and it was pointing to August 8th, and it's August 8th. So the interesting thing though, it's at 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Eastern. It's going to be approximately 35 minutes long. That is really long for something like this, for what I was expecting. I was going to this with zero expectations because I don't think Game Freak's going to be ready with another big Pokemon game or anything, and I think it'll just be DLC for Scarlet and Violet. That'll be mostly it. But, Josie, you had an idea.
I just would like to see Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, like a new
Interesting.
game, you know? The only one we have on Switch is a remake. So
Yeah, it's very
they want to
bad,
make their
too.
own for it. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, wow, I
So
thought you were going to disagree with me on that. Okay, cool. Good.
I don't even really like the games. I just think it makes the most sense.
Jordan vehemently disagrees with me about that. The game's got like one button.
Yeah, they're just kind of, I don't know, they're a little boring. But I think it'd be cool just to see something new. But I also totally can see them dedicating like 20 minutes to Pokemon Sleep and 10 minutes to Pokemon Go or something crazy like that.
Has anyone played Pokemon Sleep?
I don't understand it. I've never played Pokemon Go
No.
either, though. I just don't get it.
Well, Pokemon Go I get because it's like, especially when it came out, it was a time where everyone was rushing all over the place, and then we go into the pandemic state, and then we come out of it, and now it's apparently people are mad at the game because they cut out a lot of the stuff that made it easier to play, so people have to go back outside. I just remember when it first came out, people were all over the place. You almost like running over people because they were just walking in the street trying to catch Pokemon. But I see some expectations on X, and it's not great. I see some people like thinking we might see the Game Boy games go into NSO and Game Boy Advance games and all this stuff.
They did
be
that last
awesome.
time.
I know, but they do it every time now, and I don't. So my thing is, I don't understand why the Pokemon Company would do that. That's just, I don't get it. Like, why would they put the stuff in NSO when, let's be real, they can just sell it to people for $20 on the shop and everyone would buy it.
Oh, I guess, yeah. So I guess, yeah. Then in that case, I changed because I was about to say that's 100% what I expected, but I think you're correct. I'll be honest. You're right. I would buy it. Is that if they put Pokemon Yellow or Pokemon Crystal on there or Pokemon Fire Red, I'd pay $20 right now. I do think that we're going to get some sort of Game Boy coming to Switch reveal.
I think there's this. I think people tend to forget the way it works with the Pokemon Company. Is it's not all Nintendo necessarily. They just have a part of it. So I feel like they would have to also get agreement from Creatures, Game Freak, and all of that.
I mean,
to
the
make it
trading
work.
card game is coming to Game Boy, so
Yep. I don't
in
think
the
they
realm
care
of
as much about
possibility.
that one. For example, if this was Nintendo calling the shots, you feel like the Pokemon DLC would be in NSO, like Mario Kart and all that is.
Oh yeah.
So
Why?
I think
There's money to be made there.
But that's what I mean. Like they could easily have sold the Mario Kart stuff, but they attach it to their own subscription service. It's like wholly Nintendo. They can do that. I feel like with the DLC, it's like you said, Sean. Why would they? Because of that. So that's the only thing that throws me off. Maybe they could put one in there. Maybe they just here's yellow.
You also have to remember they're going to talk about non-video game related stuff. They're going to talk about Detective because that was shown during the direct, and there's lots of questions.
Oh my gosh, I heard Josie was excited about this. You guys just shut her down. She's like, this game looks great. And you're like, look at this PS2 game.
I never said it looks good. I just said I'd be playing it.
That was
fun.
That was crazy. That they rolled that shit out there like, yeah, and everyone was like, what? Really? Like, goddamn. But yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not a huge Pokemon fan. I'll be on the beach. I could care less what happens. But it'll probably be DLC stuff, but there'll be like, oh, well, one more thing. Maybe Let's Go 2 or...
There's been the rumor that there is some sort of
black and white
Arceus style game. Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be cool. I like the Arceus. I think the Arceus stuff is good.
It was better than Scarlet and Violet. I'll just say it.
Yeah, which is weird.
It's a better game. Yeah, and at this point, I mean, there's only one SKU, and it's what was it, like 15 or 16 million or something like that. So technically, it probably even sold better if you took one of the SKUs away from Scarlet and Violet.
Do we have a mainline or like a Pokemon announced for next year? We don't, right?
No, we don't. No, we just have the
so
DLC
I could see them
coming up right now.
Yeah, I could see them throwing in Arceus maybe at the end of this to come out next year sometime. But
okay, give us an early look and just flash the year 2024.
That's what they did with the first game too. It was announced like a year in advance, I believe. So
I can see that. That's the most realistic one. If we got like a new, like larger game, is something along that line. It's not going to be a brand new full Pokemon game. That's probably being saved for the next system, and what's that? Not next year, the year after. Also, they're supposed to. I think they had some premium Pokemon card set that they were supposed to show again or something.
Yes.
They didn't put a price on it last time, but it looked expensive. So, you say that, Sean. You know that thing's getting sold out immediately.
Oh, well, yeah, because people scalp it.
That thing is going to be a lot of money. Yeah, that's kind of where I am, though. I don't have high expectations for this, and I hope people aren't expecting the entire Game Boy and Game Boy Advance library to drop in on the 8th. But
I think that's what I want, but it's not what I expect, if that makes sense.
I will take the Pokemon trading card game. If they say it's in there now, you can just end the presentation. That's good.
Yep, same.
That's good. I like that game.
It's really good.
It's one of my favorite Game Boy games back in the day. So I will play it. All right. Let's... MVG, did you want to... So MVG was like, we got to talk about this. This right here. We have to talk about it. Killer Instinct. I have no idea what happened here.
What do you mean?
Iron Galaxy? I mean...
I have no idea.
Rebalancing the game. The support is back. They're doing a 4K patch for it. It's all over the place.
No, I'm saying I have no idea how this happened exactly. This is really weird because no one expected it. No one saw it coming. People who are like really in the know for Xbox were just as confused. I don't know. Iron Galaxy just showing back up again and is like, hey, we got it. I mean, they did it before. They were the ones who were working on it because it was them and Double Helix.
Mm-hmm.
Double Helix got purchased by Amazon, yes. So they had to get Iron Galaxy. Iron Galaxy did really good. They did well with the whole thing. So interesting that this whole time we had Phil Spencer and Matt Booty going around in interviews saying, we want to do it, but we can't find someone to do it, basically is what they were alluding to. I guess Iron Galaxy came free.
It sounds like it. But I mean, look, we we're getting ahead of ourselves here a little bit because all they're doing right now is just patching the game for Xbox Series, right? So I think there is a hope and expectation that this is going to be the beginning of, a longer term thing with Killer Instinct. Potentially, we get another Killer Instinct game, which would be really awesome. I think a lot of people have wanted to see that, but I think it's really, really exciting for fans of Killer Instinct that have waited for a long time to get anything, just something from Killer Instinct, because it seemed like, once again, that it was a franchise that was just left by the wayside. But I wouldn't say that this is a massive, massive announcement, but it is enough for fans of Killer Instinct to be like, okay, this could be something really cool. So they're bringing out a performance update. They're bringing out a Xbox Series patch, which will bring it in line with kind of modern standards as well. So that's really awesome. They're going to balance the game. So this is really, really exciting. Whether we see more, hopefully we will, and hopefully, this is the beginning of more announcements to come. But very exciting. Good. I don't know what happened behind the scenes for this to kind of get all done, but if Xbox was involved in some way to kind of pull the strings to make this all work, then good job. They did well.
Is this an announcement because Evo's going on right now?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was an Evo announcement. And there's been a couple of really interesting Evo announcements.
The new Fatal Fury?
The Peru game, are you
Yeah.
kidding me? That's hype as
Yo!
well. Pretty hype about that. So yeah, normally these kind of fighting game announcements, sometimes they'll kind of leave them for Evo because it's a pretty hype time and everyone's in one location. There's a lot of streams going on as well. So
Why are you at Evo, MVG?
that's a good question. I mean, it's literally about 20 minutes from here. I could go down there if I wanted to. I don't know. I just didn't really feel like going down there.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I did go last year and I was actually playing Street Fighter 6 on their arcade
Yeah.
cabinets they had. That was fun.
Did it smell?
No, it wasn't too bad. I mean,
like a
it's
big
a
convention hall, isn't it?
it's a big casino. They always usually
Yeah.
keep it pretty well.
Yeah.
Oh, that's one of the things. Like fighting tournaments usually have a little stank in them.
I think it was.
It's just Smash Brothers.
Well, I mean, I think it
Oh,
was
okay.
because at one point it was huddling up in hotel lobby areas, but then they also had you in the conference rooms at a hotel, and it was very small. Now it's gotten to the point where gaming is so big, they have in these massive convention halls where it's
Well,
like,
Sony owns Evo, remember?
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're kind of pulling the strings in the background. But the Mandalay Bay, they've had that there for a while. I think they've had it there for at least the last 5 or so years. But you're right, John. It's kind of grown over time. I think in the early 2000s, you're right. It was just a small room at a hotel where they would get set up and stuff.
yeah.
But Evo's big, and yeah, good announcement that Killer Instinct is getting some new love because it's awesome.
Yeah, they said balance update, improved matchmaking, and 4K support for the Xbox Series X and S.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So the S is getting 4K support as well.
Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, do you remember when the game came out on the One? It was a launch game for the Xbox One,
Mm-hmm.
and it ran smooth as butter, even on the One back in 2013. So I can see this easily running at 4K on both systems.
This is interesting because I do still think Microsoft needs an internal studio to handle something like this if they really want to make it go, because they've contracted Iron Galaxy, they've contracted Double Helix, they lost one of them. I don't know. It's interesting to see Iron Galaxy coming back and doing this, and you feel like Microsoft, if they want to make this a thing going forward, they legitimately just have a permanent studio to handle it.
Yeah.
So
Hopefully, I mean, like I said, hopefully this is the start of a really cool kind of future for Killer Instinct, because fans have been wanting more from KI for a long time. So we'll see what comes out of it. Like I said, I'm not trying to get too hyped because it's just a modern patch for an old game, but Signs of Life is good. I mean, anytime a game that's kind of laid dormant for a while has some fresh signs of life, then it's always good to get excited about stuff like that.
I think people are just happy to see something going on. Something Killer Instinct is happening, and that's enough, because that game is just it felt like that game was just done and they weren't going to be able to figure it out. But Iron Galaxy is back, so we'll see. We'll see what they have up in store for us after this patch. No word on when it's happening, just that they are, I guess, in the process now. So Microsoft figured it out, that's good. That's
Good job, Phil.
Yeah, especially for Killer Instinct. Hey, I mean, look at it this way: the past 2 weeks, Xbox got Final Fantasy 14. They got Square Enix back on board. Now Killer Instinct comes back, and they're a month out from Starfield.
Yep.
Things are looking up for Xbox right now. Wow, good stuff.
Good old Starfield.
This is from Yum, who says, to be honest, I don't mind a 720p handheld Switch. 4K or Full HD would be needed when docked. I just want a powerful CPU, more storage, replaceable storage if possible. Hellman says, Switch 2 rumors reminding me of 2015 NX. I feel like 2015 NX was way different in terms of the discussion.
I missed the Stewie Griffin controller, man. That thing was badass.
Hey, people that person really went all out though, because they like 3D printed it, didn't they?
Well, they had it, and they had like I remember they had it because we did a skit on it on Nintendo Enthusiast where there was like you could see trees, in the reflection because it was like an office building. It was so funny. That's good shit.
I mean, like I said, they went all out with it. 3D printed it, put it on a desk, take a nice picture of it. It looked real. It did.
It looked really real.
Yeah. Liam says, when you say digital library MBG, does that count physical games registered to your Switch as your console? An account keeps track of those too.
No, because you can just resell that game somewhere else. I don't think Nintendo would allow for that, right? Yeah. Is that what he's saying? I mean, because if I run a digital game, a physical game, and I have that registered to my account, and then I give you my physical copy to someone else, then they have that as well. So I don't think so. I think it would just be strictly digital plus Nintendo account, NSO, all that stuff you get with NSO.
Let's talk about Jedi Survivor and the Xbox One and the PS4, because somehow, some way, this game is getting ported to the PS4 and the Xbox One after coming out on the Xbox Series and the PS5 and the PC to a disastrous launch terms of performance. When they said this on their conference call, I almost fell over. I don't know how they're going to do it, but apparently it's a thing. Prank. And they didn't give us a time for when it's coming out. They just said they're working on it. I don't think it's coming out this year. I think this is next year.
We're going back a long, long way, but remember Respawn. I mean, they're pretty good with the Xbox One. They did Titanfall, remember, on the Xbox One back in the day, which, was a pretty good game when it first came out. I think it was exclusive, right? There was no PS4 version of the original Titanfall.
Yep.
So I think they have they have a good knowledge of the Xbox One, John. But I do agree with you that it's a very puzzling announcement to make that you're bringing a VCR version to for this game. I guess they must have done some market research, or maybe they've got some information that we don't. But maybe they believe that they can sell X number of million additional units of the game. So I guess. If that's the way they're going to do it, then good luck to them. Hopefully it all works out. But we'll see. I'm very interested to see, number one, how the game actually performs when it comes out, and two, what the mindset was, or why there was a decision made to do it, I guess.
It's interesting you mentioned that, because EA is the company that would probably have the best knowledge about last gen, considering they still make all their sports games and stuff for the Xbox One and the PS4 for the most part. They probably have an idea as to where we are with this cross-gen stuff and if we've truly moved on or not, since we
haven't, John.
And
2025.
Wow.
What do you mean, wow? It's the writing is on the wall. You just said that this game wasn't coming out until 2024. Yeah. It's not going to be the only one.
Yeah. I wonder if we'll just keep hearing about more games going backwards. That's interesting.
Feels like the Atari 2600 versus the 7800 or whatever, where they just... So there's such a big install base, I guess, for the PS4. They got to keep throwing it bones, but it just feels weird that they made the game for current gen and PC, and it looks great and it runs great, and then released 20 optimization patches to fully fix it. And they're like, now we can make it run on the old stuff. It's very weird.
I feel like we had some moments where they definitely talked about how they left the old gen behind because they wanted to take full advantage of these new systems, and that's what made their vision possible.
Who said that?
I feel like Respawn had said that at some point. I have to double check, but I feel like they were questioned about last gen, and they answered it in a way that implied they were going all in on this current generation, and the last gen systems couldn't keep up. I don't know. I have to go back and look to find that quote, but I feel like they've done that before.
John, you've played Jedi Survivor. How big is the install?
150 gigabytes.
Is that on Xbox Series or
Xbox Series?
PS5?
Xbox Series, yeah. I think it's about the same. I think it's like within 4 or 5 gigabytes of each other or something. And then there's patches that have come out. They've released like I think 8 or 9 patches for the game. It's a lot. See, they ran face first trying to get patches out. Game Freak had their feet up with the 20 million sold, when that was going on. But they were trying to patch it. It runs better, but it's still not, hey, if I put it in performance, this thing's locked 60, no sweat. But if I will say this, if you go through it on like the quality mode where it just locks the frame rate at 30, it is actually a good enough experience to get through without any juddering or weird stuff that happens in the game that'll just mess with your reflexes or stuff, but you're still locked at 30. Perfect world, at least 60, straight up for a game like that where you're doing a lot of reactionary stuff. It's a good game, though. That's the thing that gets me. It's a great game, but man, that performance. I feel like they mentioned it at some point. Yeah,
We'll
see,
find out.
Now it's just newer stories about how it's going to last gen. If I search it. Well, oh wait, no, here's one. Respawn on why Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Okay, we didn't want to break what we did in the first game, but we wanted to evolve/enhance the experience. And then there's more about it here. So they were questioned about it, and I guess they answered it vague enough to where it's like, well, we can kind of go back and do it. So anyway, I guess PS4 and Xbox One lives on for Sean. You think 2025?
Yeah, at least.
Wow. Okay. That completes a 12-year life cycle for the VCR.
That's crazy.
It's pretty impressive. I can't believe
How much has that sold?
50 million units or something like that for the Xbox.
Microsoft they're always really cagey about sales numbers, so you can really never gauge how many they have, but I think it's around 50 is the word.
Yeah, at least the PS4, I guess you could look at it and be like, okay, it's like 16 or 117 million units. It's like, well, that kind of makes a little sense for us to attempt, but even the Xbox One uses like DDR3 memory, which is pretty funny.
Remember all the terrible things with the VCR?
Yeah.
Like the CPU was just really slow.
Well, the PS4 I remember had like I think the CPU in the Xbox One was clocked a little higher, but the PS4 had like the throughput for the RAM and all that. Yeah,
yep.
So it was.
The Xbox One had the ED RAM, that small block of RAM that was super fast if you knew how to program for it. But I remember, man. I mean, remember the old days of FF14 and stuff? How badly they ran.
that was pretty bad
on base Xbox One and PS4. I don't know.
Man.
This will be interesting to see. I mean, good on them. They sound confident, and hopefully it'll be a good port. But we'll see.
You know what's interesting? I do wonder if them backporting this or moving it backwards a generation will help them also improve the current one. Because I remember with like Warframe, for example, they ported it to the Switch, and they said that they were able to optimize the Xbox One and the PS4 versions further because Panic Button did some work to Warframe to shrink it to the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I don't know if that's just part of their process. They're like, well, we're optimizing it so much we can get it to run on these systems.
I mean, there is a precedent as well. Like, remember, Rise of the Tomb Raider on the 360 and like Titanfall came out on the 360. So, bringing games back, like you said, kind of backporting them or whatever, it's not an uncommon practice. I guess it's just curious that they chose this game to do it on, because it sounds like a very big game. That's why I kind of asked you about file size. And also, it sounds like there potentially could be so many areas where it's not going to run very, very well. But they obviously have more information than I do, so we'll see.
We will see. I'm almost interested enough to try to see how that runs on the VCR. I'm honestly curious. Nate might have to break that thing out.
Might be a video.
There you go. Asim asks, will Game & Talk episodes be on other platforms /Spotify? They are. They're actually up on Spotify. They are up on Apple, iTunes. I definitely know they're up on Spotify because I'm looking at it right now with the Game & Talk episodes, which shout out to all the almost 10,000 followers on Spotify, by the way, who are watching these or listening to these things. Yep, they're all up there, and they go up there days later. So anyone on the network and all this Patreon gets early access. So you can hear Nate tell you about the different Switch 2 stuff before other people find out. So you can have the know. You can be in the know before everyone online does. So there you go. Check it out. Or you can hear Sean talk about 8-inch and screen.
Yikes, John! What are you doing?
Whoa, what's happening?
Jeff says, for those who are getting sick of Switch 2 rumors, don't worry. Switch 2 Pro rumors will follow shortly thereafter.
Not wrong.
That's how it goes. Once it gets announced, someone just has to tweet out, ask what about the Switch Pro or Switch 2 Pro. 7 says, Sony is taking a gamble with a Pro system since most people have a low-grade TV, 4K TV with no HDMI 2.1 or a 1080p TV. Most won't see the difference. But they're aiming for that higher market with that system.
Hey, if I can run FF16 at 60 FPS,
yeah,
I'm happy.
Might be able to push Jedi Survivor to it. If we can port Pokemon to it MVG with the Carbon engine, we might get a stable 30. There we go.
You're saying a lot of things.
Pokemon's getting it all tonight. Yeah. Carlos says, hi, everyone. Just a general question. I was recently convinced on getting a gaming laptop with a RTX 4050. Would I need a PS5 or an Xbox Series system in the future, or just wait for everything to come to PC? Well, I mean, on the Xbox side, they just port it. Like, it just comes out on PC as well.
Even on the PlayStation side, eventually they'll come to PC. It's just a matter of how long you're prepared to wait and potentially the quality of the port as well. Although things have seemed to have gotten better since The Last of Us.
Well, yeah, I did a video about Ratchet & Clank on PC. Actually looks better than PlayStation 5. Not a huge shock. And God of War 2018's on PC. Looks great. Horizon Zero Dawn's on PC. It looks great. I feel like I've been gaming on my PC so much lately. I'm getting really PC pilled. And just in general, I think that if you can only buy one thing and it's a good laptop, that's a good way to go. Good tower, good PC.
I do wonder with Sony right now, because some of these games they're porting to PC, I mentioned this before, I don't know. I don't think they're performing as I kept an eye on Ratchet and Clank, and it didn't really move much in terms of PC sales, even after its initial launch. It just kind of slid downwards. I kind of think if Sony wants these PC ports to do better, they're probably gonna they might have to go day and date or get closer.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's getting a little sketchy with some of those ports.
I don't know why it's not day and date. I don't know. I playing a lot of these games on PC. I feel like they look good. It seems like it'd be an easy W. I'm sure it's just more money. Maybe do a 2-month delay or a 6-month delay, but I don't know why they delay it like years sometimes. Like Ratchet & Clank came to PC 3 years later. That seems a bit much.
Well, like they're gonna do their live service stuff day and date. So maybe that's a good test for them. If they come out with I don't know what Haven Fair Games or what Firewalk's doing, it comes out and it does well on PC as well as PS5. Maybe they're just like, you know what, go Tsushima 2 or the next God of War or something that'll just be on PC as well, same day. I don't know. It seems like they thought it would do better if they waited just because they're Sony, and I don't know if it's hitting like they thought it would. Let's talk about Death Stranding. Sean, I know you're excited about this one. You still have that baby in your bedroom?
No.
Oh, what happened?
It's I still have. Oh no, do I still have it? I don't know if I still have it or not.
Phoenix Retro took it.
Yeah,
You got art? Really?
I think so. I could be wrong though. I don't remember, dude. He took so much. I shouldn't say he took. He bought so much shit.
But
do you want me to go look?
But the baby's
Yeah.
there too?
All right, hold on. Let me go.
Show us the baby, Sean.
Well, I gotta see. It's in the arcade room.
It's in the oven. Oh God.
Does anyone know Japanese pop stars here?
Very, very loosely.
Okay. Because I feel like they're popular enough that if I mispronounce this, I might actually get in trouble over on X.
I think you'll be all right.
Okay.
As long as you try. Like, that's the thing. If you show effort, as long as you're not like, bah, you know.
Okay. So this was an interview with Hideo Kojima. Sean didn't. Well, no, Sean played Death Stranding for like 3 hours or something.
I've played and finished Death Stranding, John. I know everything about it. I love the game.
I'm asking people. I know Max played it. I know you played it. Josie hasn't played it yet. She will
Click
eventually.
loved it.
Click loved it.
I loved it.
That was a good game. I thought it was
Even
good.
Princess Beach as well. Love that.
I thought it was good. I thought it was good. Yeah, that's one, Josie, that if you get a chance to sit down and just try the gameplay loop, just see what you think of the gameplay loop, and then go from there. Because
You like delivering packages?
Oh gosh, don't say that.
That's what you do. You walk around the world and deliver packages from one place to another.
And
Pick
yet
up some
Sounds
somehow
kind of fun.
it is very
really
fun.
cool. It's really cool. There's a really cool story as well.
I've noticed
Is
more
it
and more.
ever on sale?
It's on. I think it's on.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
on. Isn't it on PlayStation Plus?
I think it is.
It could
it?
be, and I
Yeah.
bought the director's cut or whatever it is, the new one, for $10 last year at Black Friday, I believe.
I'm
Okay, I'll totally pick it up. Black
pretty
Friday.
confident, Josie. It's on
Don't.
PlayStation Plus. Like, I'm almost positive it is the director's cut. Someone in the chat can probably confirm. I believe it's on that PlayStation Plus Extra Premium. Definitely
Okay.
Extra tier. Yeah.
Well, then I'll just download it.
You just try it. The one thing I will tell you, it's some of the best visuals on the system. So
Oh yeah.
That's cool.
yeah.
It takes a couple hours to get going. If you have like a day where nothing really is happening and you need to kill some time, play it for like 3 hours, you'll get hooked.
Yeah, and
Okay.
Norman Reedus is the main character. He's a cool guy. He showers and you use the dirt and blood that comes off of him as bombs. So
Take
there
it
That's
you go.
wild.
Mm-hmm.
You pissed. You pissed.
You do pee on people and
You can.
into bottles and throw it at people.
Yep. Yes, it is on PlayStation Plus. So people are confirming in the chat.
Yeah, I'll get it right now.
Okay, so
It's going to take you 2 weeks to download.
Yeah, I'm sure.
No, you got new internet.
Might as well start it. Well,
Yeah, start
just
it now.
a week then.
I think it's like 50 gigabytes or something like that.
Oh, that's not that bad.
So there was an interview with Hideo Kojima and Japanese pop star Naki.
Oh yeah,
Cool.
Naki.
Cool.
All right, good. Nothing happened. Good.
Clip
Okay.
it.
He said after going through the pandemic, he did rewrite Death Stranding 2, which he confirmed before. I believe he said that it influenced his thoughts around how it should be set up. And he said in Death Stranding 2, the interpretation of Strand evolves. And you'll notice at the end of the teaser trailer, message says, "Should we have connected?" That's the crux of what we're trying to articulate in the sequel. So initially with the first one, he had an idea for Strand, and it has completely flipped in his mind as to what it should mean. A lot of it due to the pandemic. He even mentions that people should be going outside more.
Yeah.
And I mean, with the first game, Josie will find out as she goes through. But basically, the idea is reconnecting people, which you'll see in the opening of it as they explain the story. And that's kind of what you do in the game. In fact, your last name is Bridges. So
Building bridges.
Do I get the director's cut or the normal one?
director's
Get
cut.
the director's cut.
Yeah.
That's the PS5
Okay.
version, basically.
Yeah, it looks a little bit better, and if you beat the game, there's some like Metal Gear Solid missions.
And it runs at 60.
Yep.
60 frames. So
All right.
yep. It's the story is very interesting though, and it's kind of like one of those ones that like Sean is rolling his eyes, so you know it. There's some thought involved.
Yeah. Thought. What is Metal Gear Solid? That's very thought provoking. Except it's actually done well. It's surrounded by good gameplay.
I mean, the first one.
There's a stupid baby. I'm going to put it away.
Oh,
I'm
there it
already
is.
trying-
Oh,
I
there it
still
is.
have it.
Baby's back there. Yeah, cool.
I do have this check coming over tomorrow though, so I'm gonna like put it just in like one of the rooms or something like that, or maybe put it in like the middle of the air hockey table and like put the light on it when she comes in. Like, oh yeah, this is my son.
Just put it. Yeah, but do you have a recliner in the living room?
Yeah, I do.
Do you have a little like table next to it for like when you put your drink down or something?
Yeah, I do.
Just put it right there next to the lamp and never say anything about it. Just
Okay.
in the middle of the living room. Don't ever reference it. Nothing. Even if she's kind of like, "What's that?" And there's like a lamp nearby. Just be like, "Oh, that's a lamp that my grandmother got me. It's very nice."
She's never coming back.
Yeah, right?
You never
Or maybe
know.
she wants to keep coming back because she's trying to figure it out, but she doesn't want to just outright ask you. So she's like, when you're not in the room, she's like going through your drawers looking for like the backstory or like.
You know what she could fucking go through my drawers and look for? My goddamn car keys for that other fucking car. I hate everything.
just in case no one caught it, okay, in the chat, Sean's in a position where he owns 2 cars that we know of, and he lost the car keys for one of them. That's kind of the life he lives.
Here's the thing. And Sean, hear me out. Like, I feel like this has happened before. You've lost your keys before. Like, I remember on an old RGT video or something where you were talking about you lost your car keys or something. What's going on over there?
He's gone. He's
probably trying to find his car keys.
We'll ask him again when he gets back. He's got to go put BB in the living room. Okay, so he's rethinking Strand. I kind of feel like in this case, I mean, should they have connected? Do you now go and shut down the machine, the technical side, to free everyone from technology and send them back out into the world?
I feel like it's going to be a big, because obviously almost every single Kojima game is very metaphorical and very, very thick. I felt the first game, of course, is about us all learning to open up to each other. I think they're going to flip it on its head. And I think the second game, I think, is going to be about like the dangers of social media, of being too connected. So I bet it's going to be some sort of thing where people are actually directly connected somehow in the real world, and it's starting to like collectively kill them. One person dies and it hurts others or something.
I almost wondered if that was his Xbox game, because he would be using the cloud and Azure, and I almost wonder if he would try to take real world events and stuff happening on social media and putting it into your game. That was just an idea, because that's going to use the cloud, although he could still metaphorically say that in Death Stranding 2 as well. Just based on what we saw in the first game. But I think, I mean, when do we think Death Stranding 2 is coming out? Is this next year, you think?
Maybe. I think, doesn't it have a loose release date for 2024, or is it 2025?
I thought it was 2024 temp. Like in that, remember there's that sheet that leaked out at one point that told us like all these projects they're working on. Death Stranding 2 was one of them.
Oh yeah.
I haven't really been following along too closely, but I would probably say it's 2025 personally.
Okay.
But with that said, I mean, we have, Gamescom coming up. We have Tokyo Game Show. We have the Game Awards. So I feel like one out of those 3 or potentially more will hear more about Death Stranding 2, considering Jeff Keighley's involved with 2 of those things as well. Kojima's best friend. So yeah, we'll hear more about the game. The only thing that I'm not really sure about is discussing what we think Death Stranding 2 is going to be, because none of us had any idea what Death Stranding 1 was, and it ended up being a walking simulator, which really just kind of messed with people a lot. So they may just flip the script on this one, and it could be a completely different style of game.
I feel like it's going to be. I think it's gameplay-wise, it's going to be very different. Remember we were watching, when Death Stranding 1 was coming out, everyone was like, he's trolling us. That's not what the game actually is.
Yep.
And that's just what it was. Yep. It was just that. So I kind of feel like it's not going to be about delivering packages. Maybe it's going to be about like not destroying facilities, but breaking like these holds and tethers on things, and it's more action based. It's really hard to say, because Kojima could do something really weird again. But I'm actually looking forward to Death Stranding 2 again, because somehow we have a sequel that still has a lot of mystery to it, like the first one did. And then maybe Sean will play it.
No, I will, unless I get a review copy or reviews of the game sound interesting to me, I will not be buying that game.
What if it's a different style of game than Death Stranding? What if it's more of a stealth action game?
You can't trust Kojima, though. Can't trust Kojima. I looked under the couch. I looked in the fridge. You can't trust Kojima because he's a very bait and switch sort of person, and that's how we got Death Stranding in the first place.
Am I having a stroke? What does that mean?
What?
You said I looked in the couch. What was that?
Oh, someone was asking me location.
Oh, okay.
For the keys.
Bro, I thought I was stroking. This felt like one of those dream things where it's like, Max, you're sleeping. Jelly sandwiches. The couch. It's in the couch. Sorry. Very weird.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll take a very wait and see. I mean, obviously we'll have previews and stuff like that, so hopefully that will sort of give an idea. But yeah, it's not high on my priority list because I don't know. I just
that first one really did not click with you, man.
It didn't, and I gave it. I played it for like 17, 18 hours.
Dude, you're like more than halfway through the game then.
Yeah, but I didn't have the desire.
You don't want to see how it ends?
No, I don't really care.
Some of those characters were really interesting though.
I feel like I respect this though. I have a thing where I feel like people play like 1 hour of a game where they watch a trailer and give up. You paid it 17 hours and didn't find it interesting. Then you did his due diligence, throw it in the garbage. Like hashtag Sean was right. I don't know.
And if people like the game, like I don't fucking care. Like the game all you like. It's just I didn't like it. Shit happens. Be all right.
That's why I'm curious. Curious to see what Josie thinks of it, because everyone has like a different opinion on Death Stranding.
In a week if it downloads.
Everyone has a different opinion on it. I mean, the thing people usually can agree on at least is that Kojima's crazy, and they're very.
That's
good
what
at,
I've heard.
They're very good at getting like incredible visuals out of these systems. That his team is. So if anything, you'll probably see some of the best visuals your system's ever put out. So let's go over to the super chats here. Oh, Sean, are you gonna do an after show?
Yeah, I'll do it for a little bit.
Okay.
And then we have something to play.
Yeah, unfortunately, we can't talk about it.
Is it Starfield or?
No, it's not Starfield. Just what was that, Max?
I was about to say Atlas Fallen. I beat Atlas Fallen. I'm allowed to talk about that soon.
Oh,
I don't know.
What was that?
That's out on the 10th, right?
Yeah.
I was curious about that game. I kept looking at it. I was interested to see how it would turn out.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have a big review up before it's out. I have a big review up. I think I'm not allowed to say the day, but it's like very close to launch before it's out. I have a review already done.
Oh wow! Okay, cool. Okay. This is from Eric. Says new consoles, just the Nintendo U.
I like it.
Metal Software says, what game do you want to play first from China Project? Probably. Let me make sure I'm thinking it's the right project before I just say the name of the game. It would be Lost Soulacide. Okay, good. I was like, I think that's part of the China project. I don't want to mess that up. Yeah, Lost Soulacide. We got more gameplay of that. Game looks sick. So yes, I'm on board with that one. Lost Soulacide. I think they're probably showing more gameplay of that.
The China Hero project?
Probably next month. Yeah.
Well,
it's something that Sony and all that's doing. They fund developers. They've been funding developers in different regions and stuff. So that is China Hero project.
And stuff like that.
Yep.
Okay. I don't follow them enough to
check out Lost Soulacide. You might like the way that game looks. Looks pretty cool. This is from Scott, who says, "Will you guys ever have? Oh no, it's Alex on." Yeah, we have Alex on. I was talking. He got a PS2 recently.
Fuck Alex.
I talked to him. He recently got a PS2 and was picking up some games here and there. So,
well, I thought he was rebuilding.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he mentioned he found one that was in decent shape and everything. So, I told him just mod it, drop a hard drive in that thing, and call it a day. Just do that. Get the free McBoot. Vad says, this is one of the greatest shows ever. Man, appreciated all the gaming news coming from this channel. Been waiting to send a super chat for a while. Shout out to Vad sent. The King says, any thoughts on LLM integration into games? I honestly think the next Elder Scrolls will use generative AI for NPC dialogue, given that it's going to be a 2029 game. Also subscribe to Misclick and Josie. Thanks, King of Spain. Oh, AI is going to be interesting when that gets involved in games, especially for NPC and dialogue. Ooh, Elder Scrolls 6 is so far out, it wouldn't shock me if that actually used it. Because that'd be like probably end of this generation. We'd see Elder Scrolls 6 even playable. So that might be next gen. I don't know. That's going to be interesting when AI starts finding its way into games. I'm not really sure what kind of effect that's going to have. Because I think you talked about this when one of your Ask Developers, MVG.
Mm-hmm.
And you said there's like different kinds of AI that's being almost categorized right now, depending on what it's used for.
They're calling it ethical AI. It's basically rather than, doing like a full voiceover where people's jobs are on the line or they don't need voice actors anymore. It's AI that helps with workflow to get things done faster. So, the tooling side of game development, and things like that. Potentially the testing side could see some benefit, but I think it's rather than like replacing someone's job, which no one wants to see ever. It's there just to streamline some process and make things better and faster. But we'll see. That's the hope, at least. But there's always these greedy big publishers that want to spend as little money as possible making AAA games, and unfortunately, sometimes they just see someone's job being in the way of something like that. So, but we'll see what happens. Right now, things are pretty much. I mean, I think AI is being kind of introduced into video games very, very meticulously and very slowly, but we'll see what the future holds over the next few years. I will say that I think we're going to see some really good things come out of it with AI. We're going to see some really bad things, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Okay. Yeah, the hope is that it would speed up development, but I feel like whenever we say that about something, these big AAA studios are like, all right, what else can we do in its place now?
Yep, they find other ways to use that time.
Yeah, so. Family First says, everybody go watch One Piece. Joy Boy has returned.
I'm on the way.
Isn't there like 1,300 episodes of that?
Yeah, but
Jeez.
something about to happen called Gear 5, and everyone's losing their minds about it.
Gear 5. Oh.
Yeah, it sounds like it's Luffy's version of Super Saiyan. He's about to go Super Saiyan, and they've been teasing it for like 10 years.
It took 1,300 episodes or something to get to that point?
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's a bunch of my friends all started watching One Piece like 6 months ago, and now they're constantly wearing One Piece clothing and shirts, and somebody got the pirate symbol tattoo. So it must be great, but man, 1,300 episodes is too much for me.
Take a long time to catch up to that. CJ says, would Death Stranding be better received as a Nintendo game starring Mario with a lighter tone but same gameplay loop, like Mario Delivery, Mario Carrying, Mario like Amazon Driver?
No.
People would hate that.
Yeah, people would hate that. There used to be
There would be people like, this is the greatest game ever.
do y'all ever
Total innovation.
There was an old Mario Flash game people made as a joke when Mario was missing and Mario Mansion came out. Somebody made a Flash game called Mario Goes Shopping, and it had really good like graphics. And you just shopped. You had a list. You had to do the list as fast as possible.
Mario Goes
That's
Shopping.
awesome.
This is from Jaden, who says, can you cover Pokemon Go more in your videos, please?
Yeah, John.
Yeah, John, what are you doing
How
over
do you know
there?
he's talking to me? I'm not talking to you. Maybe they want Sean to go out,
He
and,
gave you the money.
attempt to
He was talking to me. He would have given me the money.
catch Pokemon out there, Sean. When you find your car keys,
That did.
is it
Yeah.
that bad right now? Like they're like you have zero clue where they are.
Yeah.
What?
I was asking this before, but you were away. This has happened to you before, right? I remember this.
That
happened
was
to you
different
before.
though. That was different. That was a. I had two keys. One of the keys was at the house. That was when I threw my Switch off a bridge.
Oh,
And
that's
when
right. I remember it was a
when I was-
video. Yeah.
Yeah, when I was climbing the hill, it was extremely steep, and I kept slipping and falling, and I guess my keys fell out of my pocket because when I went to get in my car, I was like, "Where the fuck are my keys?" So I went back and looked. I couldn't find them. I called my boss from my day job, and he came and helped me look, and we just couldn't find them. So he just drove me to the house, and I had my house key and my car key on there, but I had another car key at the house. So I didn't even tell my landlord. I just left the house unlocked and hoped for the best. It was in a nice
Wow.
neighborhood, though, so nobody ever messed with anything.
It's a nice neighborhood.
I think about that. There's a bridge kind of near my house, like the one where you did that. You was sponsored, right? You got sponsored with a Switch carrying case, and you threw it off a bridge.
It wasn't sponsored. They just sent me a case, and I thought it'd be a funny idea.
It's pretty good. You sound so scared before you drove, and you sound like you regret it the second you do. You're like, here we go.
Well, everyone was like, "You took the Switch out." It's like, have you fucking, especially then, like, did you ever watch my videos? I don't know how to edit shit like that. Like, I just stood on the bridge. I was like, fuck it. Geronimo. Let's go.
We did find out unfortunate news from Striking Distance, of course, the studio behind Callisto Protocol, which Callisto Protocol seemed to come in below expectations in terms of the sales for it, especially when you take into account that they spent $162 million to develop it. And it was like, we're struggling to get to like 2 million copies sold over the holidays. And it wasn't looking good there. And unfortunately now it's been shared that they have laid off more than 30 employees. So Striking Distance, unfortunately, Callisto Protocol did not seem to do it for him. They did have. Did anyone go back and do the DLC?
I did. It's
I
the
haven't.
worst DLC ever.
Oh, really?
It's like,
Yeah, I watched your video on it.
yeah, it's like an hour long, and the ending is so bad. Oh my god! It it actually
Really?
retroactively ruins the game.
The ending, I wasn't. The ending for it originally was like, I was kind of like, I don't know if we're even gonna get a sequel for this thing now. So just the way it was selling and all this, and I don't know.
Google the ending; it'll ruin your
really?
night. Yes, it literally is the worst ending of any game I've ever seen ever.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. The way that turned out. There was so much hype for that game, and I feel like a lot of people just were so, I don't know, let down by it, but it just was like very mediocre game.
It's unfortunate, but I mean, I feel like they spent way too much on this game. Like,
Yeah,
I remember
way too big of a budget.
yeah, they hired all these like Hollywood actors and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, the tech that runs the game is really, really good. And I personally liked the game. I liked
Same.
Callisto. I thought it was a good game, but
Dude, trash.
they just went crazy with the spending on this one. I don't really know why they spent so much. This was kind of their first game. You don't just drop $150 million straight
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
and think it's gonna make money.
And they got it done in 3 years. Is like it didn't take that long to get done either. So for these kind of games, AAA style, like 3 years, 150 or 160 million, they burn through cash quick. So
The game's short as hell too. That's the weirdest part. Is that's got to be the highest budget for such a short game. You could beat that game very easily in one sitting.
I feel like they really focused in on the fine details, and that's probably what took so long. That's why I've mentioned like Insomniac. They don't necessarily do that, but they also produce a lot of games, and I'm sure it doesn't cost them $160 million to make a Ratchet and Clank or something. So it almost feels like a studio's first shot, and it was, but like, who weren't that aware of budgets or any of that, and they decided to dump $162 million into a very, very mature rated horror game that don't really line up to sell like 10 or 20 million copies consistently. So
Do we know how many it's sold?
I thought, let me see what the last number. They gave us some numbers, but it was like they shipped some and sold through some. I feel like it was less than 2 million copies. It wasn't. Okay, they had expected sales of 4 million copies, and now they've lowered the estimate to 2.1 million. So it sounds like they were having a hard time hitting 2 million copies, and that was earlier this year that was reported. I think in February or March.
So it sold over 2 million?
I think it's probably over 2 million by now, but they had a lot of their strategy. They said it was price cuts. We're going to cut the price. We're going to put it on sale. We're going to do what we can to try to get these numbers up. So I feel like they probably are, but I don't think it rolled in a bunch of revenue either. So
Refresh my memory. It was PS5 exclusive, right?
that was.
Did it come out on
Callisto?
Xbox as well?
I thought
Yeah.
that was on both. Yeah, it was on Xbox
on both,
Series
okay.
and PS5.
Mhm.
Yeah.
PC.
Yep.
I have the PS5 version. I don't remember the
They
Xbox
got it on the
version.
PS4 and then you got it on the Xbox One as well.
Yeah.
So it was unfortunate for striking distance. They have the talent when it comes to the visuals and all that. I think they just need better management when it comes to their budget and scope, really. That's all. Someone just needs to tell them that one of the drawers doesn't have to be a shiny next time or something. So
They don't need Josh. Was it Josh Duhamel or the actor? They don't need to
Yeah.
hire him. They can just get someone that doesn't cost anywhere near as much money,
yeah.
And I mean, they used his face in the game as well. So obviously, there's money.
Oh yeah.
There's bags that are being given as well. So next time around, just lower that budget. Don't worry about getting Hollywood B-list actors in your game.
It sold more than Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Oh man, why do you have to bring the Xenoblades like slander and right at the end too? We were almost out.
The slander's when it's not true information. With what I said untrue?
No, it technically did.
It's interesting how some games are considered a failure and some games aren't. It all comes down to budget.
It does, yeah. Most of the time, it's just how much money can it make on the amount they put out.
And how much you spent making it.
Huh. Yeah, I saw that the numbers for Xenoblade Chronicles 3 come through with that report for December. And I think Monolith probably it's time for them to move on. So, but they got the talent, new system coming up. We'll do something cool with that. And we have another super chat come through here, and you're gonna set up the after show, Sean.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do
Spooky
that
says, I remember my mom buying me Metroid Prime Hunters first hunt. That's Sean's game right there.
Love that game.
Was mad.
Oh no,
when I realized it was a demo.
First hunt's the demo.
Similar. Oh, they ask any similar bad purchase stories, and then they say sup RGT.
What's up? No, nothing I can really think of, because most of the games that I got growing up were games that I picked. So it's like, how mad could I have gotten when I was the one making the decision? So yeah, nothing springs to mind.
Bad purchase decisions for games.
When I was a kid, my parents gave me a choice for one game for my Wii U that was $60, and I chose Star Fox Zero. And that was a really, really bad choice.
I mean, I did pick a Virtual Boy over a Saturn and a PlayStation
What?
1 on purpose. Fuck yeah, dude! And I love that fucking thing. Like, I had no regrets. Like, I would play that.
I would have a lot of regrets.
I would play Mario, Tennis, and Tellero Boxer on there, and I fucking loved it.
I do love Tellero Boxer.
No, man. I don't know if I have regrets like that. The only regret I really remember is when I didn't buy it, but rented Mario Was Missing, and it ended up being a learning game.
I bought Resident Evil 6 like a month or two after it came out, and I had not seen anybody really talking about it for some reason. And when I sat down and played it, and how you like picked the campaigns, and everybody just would not shut up and stuff, I remember being actually pissed, and I got it at a steep discount. I was like, "What the hell is Resident Evil 6 doing?"
You ever play Mario's Missing?
I hope they find them.
Josie? No?
No?
MVG knows. It's basically a learning game. So I rented it on a weekend after, full week of school when I was little. And you get there and you got to find Mario. It's basically Carmen Sandiego, and you got to solve clues. And it's like history and geography and stuff. So you get there and Luigi's like talking about the Vatican and stuff. You're like, I don't know how this is fitting in, but I'll follow your lead, Luigi. And then it ends up just being a lot of basically get your textbooks and start figuring this out.
Yikes.
Yeah, that was not great. Oh, well. But those are all our topics for tonight. Let me go around here. And I think it was Zoob who was asking in the comments, the Discord questions. Evan was sending them over to me, and we're going to do a bonus show for all the members who were able to ask questions in there. And I will put that video out exclusively for the network and the patron members there. So you check that. That should be going. That'll probably be up tomorrow, late afternoon, evening. So keep an eye out for that, Zoob. We'll go around here. Let's start with Max, Dreamcast guy. Where can everyone find you?
YouTube.com/Dreamcast guy. I'm going to have like some sort of impressions video up tomorrow talking about Baldur's Gate 3. Spoilers, I love it. And then I have a big deep dive about Atlas Fallen going up on Thursday. So be ready for that. I'm also going to QuakeCon this weekend, or next weekend. So if anybody's in Texas going to QuakeCon, keep an eye out for me. I'll say hi.
I purposely left a QuakeCon topic out of this podcast. Go ahead, Josie. Where can I find you?
You can find me on YouTube at Josie Woe. I have some videos coming up one about Pikmin. I have a review of Pikmin, and then I play the first Kirby game for the first time. I have those thoughts.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Josie, how many subs do you have now?
I have like 7,000 and almost 500.
Wow.
Everyone subscribe to Josie Woe's channel.
Thank you.
It's coming up on 10,000.
That'd be crazy.
Wow.
Crazy.
Okay.
But yeah, thank you.
Okay. MVG, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Modern Vintage G and YouTube Modern Vintage Gamer. I have a video coming out on Monday that I'm currently working on. I think Nate and I are going to have an episode out next week as well. He's expressed interest in another discussion, so we will probably have that episode out next week. That's about it. Thanks for having me on.
Sean.
You can find me on RGT85. Go watch the fucking Xbox Starfield video. I don't know if that didn't go out in people's sub feeds or something, but I have not had a video do that bad in a very long time. I don't know what the problem was with it. It's a solid video. I was nice about Xbox. Go watch it. Come over to the after show. We're
That's the
already
problem.
live.
The ironic thing was that video was you saying that Starfield doesn't need more exposure, and then the video
Yeah.
of Starfield.
And nobody fucking watched it.
You were
I'm like,
nice
what?
to Xbox. That's the problem.
Yeah, my video did really well. The one saying market it harder.
Thanks everyone for joining us. I do have I'm working on it now. MVG convinced me to do the PSP mod, and I did it. It is
Yeah.
sweet.
What do you think about that, huh?
It is really cool. The only issue is there's one hangout because I did the video in the sense of could like a normal person do this mod. Just like one hang up. I think someone could pull it off otherwise. But I mean, dude, the IPS screen that you replace it with, it looks so good. This thing looks sweet. The 1000, there's one.
All right, come on. Let's go.
So-
Come on. We got games to play. We got to do
What
the
game are
after
you gonna play,
show.
Sean? What game are you playing, Sean?
We're playing the game after the after show.
I'll tell everyone what we're playing on the after show, and also show some footage that I recorded too, and we're on there.
I don't give a fuck. Do whatever you want.
Thanks everyone for watching. We will be back next weekend, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Check out the Spawncast Network so you can support the stream and all the different shows we're doing there. And we'll see you guys next time.
No, fuck all of you.